1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, what's up, Student Life? Welcome back to Couch Convos. Now, this series we're going into is going to look a little bit different. This is a brand new series. We just finished up Starter Kit, and now we're going into a series that we're calling No Filter, as you saw from the title screen. Now, you might remember from Starter Kit that those were more informational videos. We were teaching you about what it looked like to start out as a Christian. What is being a Christian? What do Christians believe? What does Christian life and practice look like? In this No Filter series, we're going to be having more of conversations. Sam and I are going to be talking with one another. Sometimes it might just be me. Other times we're going to be bringing in guests and asking them questions. You guys, we know, have a lot of curiosity and questions about faith, about Christianity, about God, about life, and that is amazing. If you remember, when we did have Sunday school last year, we did a series called No Filter, right? Same name as this series on the video. And we asked you guys questions, and you submitted on paper questions that you had about the Bible, questions you had about faith, Christianity, all of the above. And we got so many questions that we couldn't answer them all in person. And so we're doing this series to answer the questions that you asked, more questions that were asked since then, and some ones that we thought that you guys might want to know more about. So in this video, I'm just going to intro a little bit. We're not going to go over a specific question, but I really want to go over the topic of why we can ask questions in the first place. I think a lot of people, especially in the church world, unfortunately, are discouraged from asking questions. And that has led a lot of people to walk away from church, walk away from the faith, or become very confused, follow false teachings, because they're not having their questions answered. And so they're either having to go and find out answers on their own, which can be dangerous sometimes, or they feel hurt and unheard. And we don't want that to happen, right? And so we're trying to be really intentional with this series to give you guys the chance to have your questions answered. I'm sure we may do this again in the future where we have you guys submit some more questions, but I'm excited in this series to be able to answer some of the awesome and challenging questions that you guys have asked. Asking questions is important. See, we're all learning, we're all growing, and really, your whole life, you're new to faith, right? No matter how much you know about God, no matter how much you know about the Bible, about church, you're always going to be learning, because God is so much bigger than we could ever imagine. And so there's always going to be questions. There's always going to be maybe some doubts. There's always going to be some answers that you need, and that is okay. All it does is help you grow closer to Christ if you handle those correctly. You might remember episode number 6 a couple weeks ago in our Starter Kit series. We talked all about dealing with doubt and how it starts out as a seed. And the seed of doubt, the question, is not bad in and of itself. But when it's dealt with wrongly and it grows into an untrue belief about God, about the Bible, about Jesus, about your life, then it becomes bad and it becomes negative to you. And so we want you to ask questions, and then we want to be able to answer them in a biblical way that reflects the teachings of Jesus and how God has created this world. We're going to have some awesome and crazy topics that we're going to go over, but I think it's going to be really exciting, so you want to be ready each week during this No Filter series. But today I want to read to you just a quick verse from Scripture, and this is from a book that we don't often read. It's from Habakkuk. Habakkuk was one of the, we call, minor prophets, not because he was any less than any of the other prophets, but because his book is just really short, okay? So Habakkuk has a lot of sadness for the people of Israel because he sees all of this evil around him, all of this negativity, all of this injustice, all of this violence happening around him, and these bad things happening in his world at the time. Sounds a lot like today when we look around. And he asks this question in the very first 2 verses of his book. The oracle that Habakkuk the prophet received, it's this: How long, O Lord, must I call for help, but you do not listen? Or cry out to you violence, but you do not save? Why do you make me look at injustice? Why do you tolerate wrong? Destruction and violence are before me. There is strife and conflict abounds. Habakkuk is not afraid to ask the hard questions. God, where are you in this? God, why is there violence and injustice around me? God, how do I deal with this situation? Why is there so much wrong? Are you the one tolerating this wrong? Why do you allow it to happen? All of these amazing questions that you've probably asked when you look around at the world and you see the negative things in this world. You see the sin in the world. You see the hurt and you ask, why, God? Why? That's just one of many questions that we might ask. But in Scripture, we see all sorts of other examples through Job. We see examples through Timothy in the New Testament. These people who had questions, and their questions themselves weren't bad, but it was important how they dealt with them. They took them to God. They got wise counsel from people who were close to God, and they sought truth, not something that would satisfy their own heart, but something that would satisfy God's heart. And so that's what we're going to be hoping to do in this No Filter series, is answering your questions in a way that satisfies God's heart, that satisfies Scripture, and hopefully can help you as you move forward in your faith. It's not bad to ask questions. In fact, it's good, and we want you to ask questions. So dive deep into this series. Make sure that you take notes, because I think that you're going to really enjoy what we have to say, and some of the guests we're going to bring on have a lot of wisdom to provide you as you navigate this Christian life in a crazy, crazy world. So we look forward to getting back next week for our very first episode of our Couch Convos No Filter series. Make sure that you like and subscribe, turn on notifications so that you get a notification when we release each episode on Sundays. It actually comes out Saturday at midnight, so if you stayed up really late, you could watch each video Saturday late at night. Don't tell your parents I said that. But we hope you tune in for these No Filter videos. It's going to be awesome. See you next week.